Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first impressions of Unruly Heroes. So let's get this out of the way. The intro video I did at the start was to highlight some of the issues I've been having with this game. Those are kind of nitpicky and situational, but there's a lot of those. That's the point I'm trying to make with that, is that there are a lot of issues I can talk about with this game. I can name a bunch of them, and it would sound like I'm ranting on, I'm rambling on, I'm nitpicking. But I really want to emphasize that there's a lot of little problems with this game that kind of bunch up into one big ball of frustration. There's bad design decisions, there's design oversights, there's a couple technical issues with this game. And despite all of it, underneath all of it, is one of the best platformers I've played in years. The last really good one I can remember was Hollow Knight, and that was a Metroidvania. That wasn't even like a full-on 2D traditional linear platformer. This game really comes back with its great combat. It's a platformer that has some character action elements to it. It's kind of like a beat-em-up in that regard. It's got phenomenal art, a really good soundtrack, and some good sound design. Alright, so let's get into this level right here, because I think it emphasizes one of the better parts of the game. Check this out, like even in the loading screen, you got this little... If you hit like the triangle, square, circle, and X buttons, you can just kind of make them play a song. It's really cool. By the way, this game supports Xbox and PlayStation button prompts, which is really cool. I'm playing with the PlayStation pad right now. Okay, so, probably tell already. Animations, background, colors, everything really, really pops in this game. It looks absolutely stellar. So, this game can be played in co-op, and it's also got a multiplayer mode, up to 4 players. So multiplayer mode is kind of like a brawler mode. The co-op mode is basically everyone can play one of the 4 characters on the bottom there. Now you can switch between them with the L1 button. Alright, immediate problem. You can only switch between them with the L1 button, so it only goes forward like this. Meanwhile, the D-pad is just another way of moving. So if you want to pick a character, and you're like, you know, with the monkey, and you want to pick the guy who can break the bigger rocks, well, you gotta do that. A little bit frustrating. Again, design flaw. But the characters are varied enough, so they have different ways of getting around different attacks. So some characters can double jump, some characters can float, which is really cool. Some characters have some good range abilities. They can activate statues like this guy. He can touch a statue that will make him float in the air, and then he can get to higher ledges. And then what you can also do is that other characters can actually grab onto him. So it's kind of cool. So they're not left behind. Now, one of the problems I hear with co-op is that if you go too far away, like the camera doesn't seem to be like it's designed for co-op. Apparently, when you go a little bit too far away from someone, it'll just kind of zap you back, which is a thing in a lot of co-op games, but apparently it's a little bit too frequent in this one. I don't have any friends to test that out with, so you're gonna have to take my word for it, or at least the word of some of the other reviews I've been reading. So you have your green health bar right there, and then you also have your blue health little energy bar, and if you get that charged up enough, you can perform some special moves. So you have your basic attack, so that's square right here, so it just kind of does this little combo right here. Then you have your triangle button, or your Y, and that's actually your special. It's not a combo finisher, so normally in most games you do, like, square, 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 triangle. But, and sometimes you'll do, like, square, square, triangle, but it'll be different. But here it's all the same stuff. So triangle, depending on which direction you do it in, has different effects. So if you do triangle down for the pig, it'll do that. But if you do it for this guy, it'll be like that. Triangle forward. Now, triangle up is universally the same thing. It's an anti-air attack. It actually gives you some invincibility frames. This is a really important attack because there's a lot of flying enemies in this game, and for the first 4 levels of the game, you do not get an air dash, which is really frustrating because a lot of attacks come in the air, and there's nothing you can do about it. As soon as you go in the air, you can't dodge, you're getting hit, which sucks. Again, that's another design problem with the game. Because otherwise, combat is a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit mindless, but And these guys aren't really doing anything. I don't know what the deal with that is. And Okay. I think I know why. So, as I was saying, comment's a little bit mindless, but it can be really fun when the game decides to work. Here is an example of the game not working. This is actually stuck. I'm supposed to be able to move forward right here. I'm not able to do that, so now I have to restart the level. This is the only technical glitch I've come across, and this is the second time I've come across it. That kind of sucks. And it might look like I'm trying to showcase, like, oh, all the game's problems, just so that you don't buy it. I want you to check out this game, because like I said, when you get past all the little problems, it's amazing. And I think with a couple patches and little tweaks here and there, you can get something really good out of it. But for every time I'm like, oh man, this game is so good. Like, I started out hating this game. Like, the voice acting for the narration, the woman who does it, you know, not to pick on her, but her mic, it's how she does her delivery. Like, it seems a little bit forced and a little bit too cocky. And the microphone she's using, I don't know if it's not mixed well or whatever, but it just doesn't sound good. Whereas most of the sound design for the game, secret areas here, just like Rayman, which is cool. I already collected it, so that's why it was kind of grayed out. But sound design is pretty good when the music actually, you know, kicks in, which is not right here. Actually sounds quite nice. It's serviceable. You know, of course, you have the excellent presentation. Like, look at the animations for this guy. With the ground moving, like, you know, the dust kicking up, and, like, flopping his belly everywhere. Yeah, just something's wrong with this. It's like every time, like, and I've gotten through it before. All right, we're gonna do another level. So what I was trying to showcase there was that later in the level, you actually take control of one of those wolves, and you actually do a bunch of puzzles. And it's really cool, because you actually use that wolf for a boss fight against this winged beast thing. That's why there's this little icon going on right here. Basically, partway through it, you can actually use the wolf to howl, and he'll have, like, some other wolves, like, throw spears at enemy birds. And then it's used for the boss fight, because the boss tries to heal. It's really awesome. I wish I could have showed you that, but it's looking like it doesn't want to do that. So we're going to just do a boss battle instead, because this is going to highlight more of why the game is great and why there's a bunch of issues. So backgrounds in this game are a little bit muted. It seems like there's a fog effect. Like, here they look really nice, but sometimes they're kind of grayed out, and I think that's just to show off the foreground more so than anything. I think it's more of a design decision, which is cool. Like, if you play a game like Rayman Legends and Trine, which this game is trying to ape a little bit here, or at least that's what I'm going to be comparing this game directly to. Trine is a really good example of a cooperative platformer, and Rayman is a bit of a frantic platformer with the option of co-op. Co-op's not very done well, but it's there, and you can do 4-player co-op and competitive, so it's a good value proposition. You know, like, hey, you know, I got this game, it's really fun. Oh, hey, you can play it too.
Just like the others.
Hey, sorry, I totally forgot my point in this part of the video. What I was trying to get across was that the backgrounds in Rayman really gel into the foreground, and they look gorgeous, but the problem is sometimes it's very easy to mistake the background for the foreground, so you end up screwing up jumps, or you end up getting hit by something that you thought was in the background, but it was really in the foreground, so that's my point. And by having a muted background, the game is a lot easier on the eyes, it's easier to play, it's easier to figure out where everything is, so that's a plus I'm trying to make for this game. I guess I have as many technical issues in my videos as the game does.
So gullible, so weak. Playtime's over, boys. I've got a bone to pick with you.
This is one of the better examples of the voice acting being okay. Other times it just feels a little forced. That was fine though. That delivery, no, I don't have a problem with that. But look at that. Look how good that looks. It just kind of comes up in there like whoosh. But then you play the level and you're like, okay, well, how do I beat her? And this is where one of the other problems comes in. Experimentation. Or maybe I would say trial and error. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hit her in the face. That's not made clear at all. I mean, yeah, it's kind of more in the foreground right here, but it's kind of tricky to determine that. You just gotta hit blindly. But, you know, like I said, once you do understand what you're doing, oh yeah, the game's awesome. It's great. But sometimes it can be frustrating. Like at one point, I was supposed to move a statue that one of my characters was supposed to activate. It was actually the pig statue where you can blow up into like a big balloon and then you can take your allies to other places. So I would blow up as a balloon and like I wouldn't be able to get out of this little area because I could only ascend, I couldn't descend. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? Well, it turns out you're supposed to move the statue under this little duct and then you can kind of... You're supposed to go up. Let's just say it like that. You were supposed to go up, but you have to move the statue in order to do that. Not at one point did the game tell me, hey, you can move objects by, you know, running your character against them. Does not tell you that beforehand. It's made obvious later on when you're supposed to move a block to deflect arrows being thrown at you. But no indication at all. Just like there was no indication of, hey, you can hit this woman in the face. And sometimes it just kind of changes the rules on you. Like, see these little projectiles right here? You think, oh, you should avoid them. Actually, you can destroy them, but not all of them. You can't destroy all of the ones this character throws at you. You can destroy these too, and if you don't, they'll, like, beat the crap out of you because they're homing. So I'm supposed to wall jump up here. I'm gonna use my... Screw that up. Well. Rip me. You have a little dodge going on right here, but you can't deflect those projectiles. You can't stop them. You can destroy the other ones, though. Ooh, it sounds like I'm ragging on the game because I want it to do good. I want it to succeed because there's flashes of absolute brilliance. We all have that game where it's like, oh man, you know, I know this game has like a ton of problems, but oh my god, it's like the best thing ever when you get over them. Like Witcher 2 is like one of my favorite games. But that game has so many baffling, stupid design decisions. Where it's like, oh, if you just told me I could do this, or if you just told me, like, this in a little tutorial, or just like a little bit of a text bubble, I could have been like, oh, this is what I have to do in this room. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. Now I can beat this level easily. Instead of, like, wanting to yeet my controller against the wall, wondering, what the hell do I do right here? The game's not telling me what to do. And there's a fine line between experimentation and blindly looking, feeling around in the dark, playing the game of, hey, what's the developer thinking right now? And what the hell am I supposed to do? And I will say that the game is very forgiving in its difficulty. You know, like, if I lose a character right here, I can get him to respawn by destroying a spirit bubble once it comes back up. I can reselect my character here, and everything's hunky-dory. And, like, the animation quality is so good! It's so good! Like, the design is good. This boss fight is actually really fun. It's a little bit frustrating because you didn't know about, you know, these frickin' homing missiles are just annoying as all hell. Ooh, okay, there we go. And you gotta get these spirits quick, because sometimes they can go below the platform surface, and then you can maybe never get them again for the duration of the fight. But, you know, that adds challenge. That adds tension. I like that. And when you respawn, you only get about half your health left, or maybe like a third. It's not super clear on that. See, I'll get my guy back. But yeah, otherwise, it's a really cool game. See, now I gotta do this. And again, you know, sometimes it can be difficult to remember some of the stuff, like, hey, if you hit this stuff, it goes from thorny to solid. And that's something, you know, that is shown in the game, and sometimes it's easy to forget. For some people, they're gonna hold on to that information more than others. And, you know, I harp on this, I've been harping on this a little bit too much in my recent reviews, but an index does help a lot. Especially if you take a long break from the game, because you're like, oh wait, how do I do this? You know, sometimes tutorials can be annoying in games. You don't want to portray too much information to the player. Because they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. No, really, oh jeez. But, okay, I think my controller just died there, jeez. But you also don't want to, like, show them, like, a flash of text, and then they don't know what they're doing. When something else comes up. Like, for example, I actually missed this. I went back to the first level to get that clip of me fighting that boss, and I found out that there's an anti-air attack. And then I did a little bit more experimenting with the triangle button. I'm like, oh, I have some more abilities. So that was cool, but... you know, it was kind of like a two-parter. Like, if I had actually seen that, I'd been like, oh, okay, now I know my triangle does a few more abilities. Let me experiment. And that would have been really cool. And, you know, that was my fault for missing that. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't blame myself for missing that. In fact, if I was playing co-op, sometimes you might be talking with your friend or trying to figure something out, and that text comes up, and then people miss it. If you're playing like 3 or 4 players, you probably see that. One of you will, at least. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is weird. I'm respawning as that character, and I'm not moving. That's... I swear I'm not making this up. I would wait for a patch before getting this game. Because... I'd say if you're really looking for something new and special, and if you could soldier through some of these issues, like I've explained most of the problems already, so if you go into the game knowing all this, oh, you're gonna be good, man. You're gonna be fine. Yeah, I can't move as pig character. Like I'm touching, I don't know if it's trying the keyboard. I don't know if it's my controller or what. But something's wrong. Well, anyway. That was your last form. There's about a boss fight almost at the end of every level, which is really cool. The fact that they have that. There's co-op in this game. There's a PvP mode, 4 players. I really want to like this game. There's so much cool stuff going on here. But, like, even the little things I've had in this video, like, unplanned completely. I didn't know my character was going to lock up there. I didn't know that level was going to glitch out. It's more frequent than I thought. I wait for a patch, but please keep an eye on this because it is worth your money. Trust me. Ugh. You just gotta soldier through it, especially the first hour and a half of this game. I really wanted to heat my controller against the wall. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I got to this level, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then I got to this boss, I'm like, wow, once I figured it out, it was great. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out.